How's it going, everybody? Welcome here to the midweek check-in. So every Wednesday, I am going to kind of post this, just a short little kind of an overview of what we've covered or covering for the week. It's kind of I guess, yeah, review of that, and then discuss any of the assignments or any announcements that might come up. So yeah, so for this week, hopefully we're 2 days in. Hopefully you're getting familiar with the Lamaku site and um, how it's all formatted. I think it's pretty straightforward. Just kind of follow the lessons, do the assignments. I guess you've already kind of figured out too that this is a summer course, so things are going to move pretty relatively fast here. So like this week, we're doing what would normally be 3 weeks of a regular semester into 1 week of this. So just kind of work through the material, mainly lectures, some primary sources. Again, I kind of talked about that in some of the lectures of the importance of primary sources. So where are we getting this information? How do we kind of see and recreate this history? Well, it's from sources of the time. So these ones I've tried to kind of put a few primary sources in there to kind of get you familiar with some of the evidence, the building blocks of history. So yeah, I think that's about kind of the intro stuff. If you have any questions about that or have trouble accessing things, please let me know. Someone did mention something about captions. Google Chrome has automatic captions you can turn on. I'll give you I'll give you that. I'll make a note of that here. Show you how to do it, and you probably could do it with other things as well. So that's for the lectures. And again, there's 3 lessons this week. The first one sort of talks about introduces this idea of multi-causality, that history is usually multi-causal. There's rarely ever one explanation for why something happens in the past, and when something does happen, there's usually cause and effect. So historians really look at these and try to analyze these causes and effects, and our interpretations and arguments of what caused things and the effects of those change over time. And that's why history is sort of still dynamic. It's not just a study of what happened and that's the end of it. It's how can we interpret that, which I talk about. And then we do that through, I use the case of European expansion because that really is sort of the shift between 1500, is that it when will shape the rest of to the 21st century, is this expansion of Europe and what caused it, and then as we will see throughout this semester, the effects of that, which the world is, the present is part of that expansion, and how these different worlds collided and came together and encounters. This used to be called the Age of Discovery. This is a good another example of this changing interpretations of the past. That it used to be this Age of Discovery, right? But the people that lived there didn't need to be discovered. They lived in the Americas. They lived in Oceania. So from one perspective, from the European perspective, they're discovering these people. From the other perspective, indigenous perspective, or peoples from the Americas or Oceania, right? They're encountering, right? So I like to call this the age of expansion, right? And that everyone's expanding. That with the Europeans came this expansion of products and people, which we'll talk about, particularly in that we talk about it in lesson 2 with Columbian exchange. So it's kind of some of those things. And so lesson 2, we really look at like what was going on in the Americas and Oceania at 1500 prior to contact. I'll try to kind of fill that stuff in. Some of it's 151 stuff, but I think it's important to know what was going on in these worlds before these encounters took place. So I kind of give some background of that. Talk about the Americas, the origins of the Spanish Empire with their conquest of the Aztecs, and then kind of some other different, and then how North America was settled, the different patterns there. Give some New World accounts for that. And then really the effect of that, the big one is the Columbian exchange, right? That our 21st century, the foods we eat, the things we see, it's all from this sometimes called the old world and the new worlds colliding. The old worlds being Europe, Africa, and Asia, which is always sort of, because their land masses in the Silk Road, they've already connected, and the Americas and Oceania that were sort of disconnected from the rest of the world. And then things that came out of there, things like, products, plants, foods that people had never seen before, animals that people had never seen before, and then the big one, disease, that really ravaged these old world societies. So in population. So we talked about that, and the third one kind of talks about what was going on in the East prior to European expansion, and then what happened when these encounters happened. So we looked at Islamic kingdoms, China, Japan, and then these joint stock companies. And again, there's sort of one thing to keep in mind is we can compare and contrast expansion, I guess, modes of expansion in the Americas, Oceania versus that in Asia and the Middle East. So look at that stuff. Again, that's kind of the main topics for this week. Your main assignments, you have two main assignments for this week. The first one is an introduction, which is due at 4 today. And again, the idea is I want you to like get out of your house, go somewhere, think about something that you find historical. And again, I'm leaving that very much up to you. Take a picture of it. Don't just like get on the internet, Google something and upload it. I want you to actually go there, take a picture of it. And you don't have to do any, like a whole bunch of background research. Just what do you know about it? This is just kind of like a history in practice, right? History, I call it history at home or history here, right? That history's all around us. You might be taking this class and being like, whatever, just give me this credit, get me out of here, which is fine. I understand, but hopefully by this class you'll have a better appreciation of how the past embeds in the present, and you can do that by just kind of walking around outside, looking around. What is something there? I gave the example of Richardson's Beach, right? That people have probably been to, but that place has a history. It has a little plaque there, and it had a history before it was Richardson. Now we know kind of that plaque explains why it's Richardson's Beach, but before it was Puakahinano, right? These flowers of the hala tree, right? Where the Malo family lived, and all along Keaukaha, all of those Waiuli, all of those areas. There's Lee fish ponds, all of that stuff are out there. So there's a lot of history in that spot that reverberates in the present. So that's that. So go and do that, and then just give a little video, little name and face. You can do that all on the you can do that all on the discussion post there, which is nice. It's a feature of Lamaku. And then the next one is a discussion post. So just again, read the instructions. Only choose one of these questions. Don't answer all three. Choose one. Follow the instructions. Each one wants you to use the course materials. Engage with the primary sources. So look at those. Answer those questions. And again, I want these to be in your own words. Use the course material. Please don't use outside sources. Don't start talking about stuff we haven't talked about in this class. I do know AI exists. If you run this prompt through AI, it's up to you to double check that that you are utilizing information from this course, right? This isn't this. I know. I mean, we all know how things are there. So, and what AI does, and it's a tool. But the point of this class, in this history class, is not to get done with it as quick as possible, but ideally, and that's why you're in college, is to learn a little bit about the world around you. And I think History 152 does that. It kind of lays out. By the end of the class, I think you'll have a better idea of social forces and economic, cultural things that are seeping up today, and kind of hopefully think them through. Not just, okay, this is what's happening, but a little bit better understanding of why it's happening. And in fact, the multi causes of what we're feeling today and what we're experiencing in the present. So that's that. And these discussion posts, use your own words to answer those things. Start thinking those through for yourself. Great. I think that's it. The last thing is, right, just have some fun. It's history. Hopefully have some fun with the introduction. Find something that's cool with you. Find things that you're interested in this course. I try to kind of, keep things broad. So find things that you like. And welcome to History 152.